Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We are going to start working on this customer's Bally $6 million man pinball machine. We've done one of these before. But a lot of times what will happen is we'll repair a machine and then someone will search. They'll have one of these broke or something and they'll search on YouTube, see that we repaired it, that we're not too far away, and they'll bring it to us. So I think that's what happened in this instance. So a lot of times we'll end up with the same games over and over again, which is cool because this is certainly a fun one. So this is Bally's the $6 Million Man, obviously based on the television show. And it's broke, according to my brother Joe. He said it's broke. I'm Ron, by the way, if you don't know. A lot of people think I'm Joe. But you can call me Joe if you want. It doesn't bother me. So the gentleman dropped this off, needs us to fix it. We're thinking maybe there's not a lot wrong with it, but we're going to go through it and see what's going on. I don't think he wants a lot of cosmetic stuff done. It's more that he just wants it repaired. So we'll see what we can do. So here's what we're starting with. The cabinet's a little faded. See in the back there? But it's nice and solid, which is more important than being pretty. The back glass, I'm looking for wear. Appears to be about perfect, really. This era of Bally, if you took care of it a little bit and didn't stick it in your shed out behind the house and leave it there for 30 years, the back glasses hold up pretty well. So it looks pretty good. And the Playfield, this is what happens when the games sit a long time. Eventually the rubber rings break. So see how they've just broken? Drop targets are all there. So it's just a little dirty. Got a little bit of a chip out of that pop bumper skirt. Now, as far as it looks like it may be dragging here. See that? See that black circular semicircle? That's the tip of the flipper. So we might need to replace that bushing to make sure that doesn't get any worse. And you got a little bit of wear right there, just a tiny bit. That's that. Looks like there was a little bit there. Maybe they've touched up a little bit. Now I'm starting to see it. A little bit there. Now I want to show you something. Now this gentleman's probably going to watch this video. I want to show y'all something. And we're not saying nothing negative, but look at this. You're not supposed to do that. Come on now. You're not supposed to do that, people. He's cheating. He's cheating. So there's that little modification there to keep that left out lane from causing trouble. It's his machine though. I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm not gonna scold him too much. I can hear what you're saying. Now recently I was filming a video of this Flight 2000. I could not start the freaking multi-ball on it. Right? So I understand. Sometimes if you don't, you can't do the thing. I mean, you got to do something. I mean, I understand. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I understand. So, yeah, that's a cool game. As I remember, it plays really cool. So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pop the glass off of it, and let's look under the Playfield, see what we're looking like in there, see if there's anything damaged or any kind of problem. So let me slide the glass off. I've had people ask me how to slide the glass off. I don't know if I've got the keys. I think I do. No, there's no keys. Ask me how to remove the glass, which is a simple question. If you don't know, you don't know. I remember whenever I got my first pinball machine, I didn't know how to remove the glass. So whenever you work underneath the Playfield, you don't have to reach in there and work on it. If you can, like if it's at the front, sometimes it's better to do that so you don't have to take the glass off. But this lockdown bar locks down the glass and holds it on. And you can see I can't pull it off because it's locked down, right? So there is a bar, there is a little lever. They're in different places on machines, but most of them are to the right inside the door. You pull that lever out, and that has released this lock bar. Now you can take it off. Sometimes they're stuck because of the, they call this the beer seal. If you spill something on the glass, it kind of gets stuck on there. Okay. And so once you've taken that off, you can then slide the glass out. Right. But that takes 2 hands. So I'll slide it out and go put it up, and we'll look under the playfield. Okay, so here's the inside. There was a bunch of stuff in there I took out. I'll show you here in a second. Underneath the playfield, it actually looks pretty clean. This is the up post thing. Pretty cool. None of the coils look burned up that I can tell. We'll find out whenever we play it. Yeah, everything looks cool. Nothing major missing. And I figured out why. It's because it was bought. I had to hit the sneeze button. It was bought from a local company here in 2002. Okay? So in 2002, they bought a $6 million man pinball machine, original 1976 machine. I think it's actually 78. Six-person play, $13.99. Sales tax, blah, 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 was $1,503. So they paid $1,500 for it in 2003. That's, you know, about right. Maybe a little expensive, but it's from a retail place that we're familiar with here, pretty close to us. That's still in business, actually. $6 million man pinball. So this is from like a year later. Okay. I'm hiding the names and stuff. $6 million man pinball. First trip, found dead. Removed transformer and power board for repair in shop. Second trip, installed repaired parts, checked okay. One bridge, electronic part, found bad on board, $6. Now listen to this. 3 hours travel and shop time and work on location, $112. So $118. They went out to his house 3 times and fixed it. That's why we don't do house repairs. It's tough to do. You can't really do it in one trip. It's really hard to do. So they made 3 trips, but they had sold them the machine, so, you know, I'm sure they felt obligated to do that. So in the bottom, there is this. Now, I'm going to leave all these in here, obviously. This is like, it's like $100 worth of fuses or something like that. A whole bunch of them. That's pretty cool. Okay, so there's a lot of fuses, a lot of light bulbs, some replacement flipper shoes, and then some more light bulbs and things. Nothing really of any note. There was a quarter in it. Let me see if I can find that quarter. 1 quarter. Are you ready? 1983. Now, you know, whenever we look at the date on these quarters that we find in them, it doesn't really matter, because, I mean, I could probably find a 1983 quarter in my pocket if I had quarters in my pocket. So, yeah. All we know is that quarter didn't get there before 1983. Right? Okay, so that was what was in it. Oh, also that's the cover for the transformer in the back box. So they remove that whenever they remove the transformer. Right? So we'll end up putting all that stuff back in here. I'm going to go look at the notes that the gentleman gave us whenever he dropped it off and see what he said the issue was, and then we'll see if we need to plug it in or test some stuff or look in the back box or what's going on. Okay, so I looked over the notes. Apparently the thing's just not booting. It's not working right. And I'll talk it over with Joe tomorrow. He was the one that talked with the gentleman. I don't think he wants much cosmetic done, but we'll have to do a little bit, you know, just clean it and put new rubber rings on it, or at least new flipper rubbers on it. But we'll see. But we got to look in the back box and just see what's going on back there. So to do that, you have to remove the back glass. So the way you do that is, there's a lock up here. Now if you look, he's been writing, I think he's been writing his scores over here. High score is Dad with 1,100. Oh, wait a minute. He got beat by Ashley, and then Ann, and then Mike, and then Jack, and Mike. I can't tell. I think, looks like maybe Mike's got the high score. Pretty cool. This frame on the pinball machines, usually they end up getting repainted because they get all beat up by hitting other machines and stuff. So no harm, no foul, people. It's kind of funny, actually. Okay, so once you've turned that lock, it just turns a little bit, right? What it's doing is it's turning a bar that's on top of the glass, and so it turns it back. And so now you can lift the glass up out of it with this lift channel here. But again, I'm going to do it with 2 hands because we don't want to drop a really nice back glass. So you just lift up on it a little bit, and that allows it to clear this ledge, this little lip. Oh, there's a screw. And a couple other screws. We'll get there in a minute. It allows it to pick up, and then you can just hinge it out. So, just like I was saying, I don't see any damage at all on the back glass. It's literally in perfect shape. I mean, if I looked around long enough, I could probably find one little area where it's worn or something, but in general, it's perfect. Okay, so here in the Backbox, this game had 6 players because he's the $6 million man, right? So that means there are 7 displays because they need one for the credit display. This one here looks like it's seen better days, but it also looks like they've been working on it, so it may still work. So you lift up these little things, and you can open the door. One of these days I'm going to do that, and there's going to be a snake in here. Very cool. Looks pretty clean. Okay, now we've got our we've got our transformer with a little jumper wire on it. Well, that's going to be our problem. So now we're not plugged in or anything, and you want to watch that because these lugs here have 280 volts, something like that on them, 250 volts. So what's going on is this wire has pulled out of one of these connectors here because they get hot. So it's like the general illumination usually. It looks like that's actually the solenoid voltage though. So this is for the solenoid somewhere. And then they have, instead of replacing the connector, they've put like a little jumper on it and connected it to the solenoid voltage test point. Right? We can clean that up and make that better. So once the power comes in from the wall, it goes here. The transformer changes it to different voltages. You might say it transforms it. And then it goes, the AC voltage goes up here to this rectifier board. Usually those can be saved. You just need to work through them a little bit. We'll show you that. And then once the voltage is rectified there, now you've got a bunch of DC voltages, and some of them go up here to this solenoid board. This is what makes all the coils work. This area here, the bottom half of the board, makes all the coils work, makes the flippers work, stuff like that. This area here makes the displays work. And this area here is the power supply for all the other boards. So it changes all the 12 volt voltages. I mean, it changes the 12 volt into 5 volts, which all of the integrated circuits use on all of the boards. This is the sound board. Fairly little simple thing. Once the solenoid board makes the 5 volts, it sends it out to the sound board. This is the lamp board, makes all the lights work. It also sends it to the displays so that the display boards can make the displays do their thing. And then, most importantly, it sends it to the MPU. So this is the brains of the machine. Now this is a newer board. This is a replacement, brand new board, but it's 20 years old. So at the time, they were putting batteries on the replacement board. Since then, they've started putting like some kind of flash thing or something where it doesn't need a battery. So we'll have to do something about those batteries. We'll pull that out and check it out. I may have a replacement RAM I can put in there to fix that or something. We'll see. But everything looks pretty cool. I think what I'm going to do is, what's the best way to do this? I think what I'll do is unplug the boards where they get their power in. Okay, so I unplug the power from that, the power from that, the power from that, and then I'm going to unplug the displays. Basically, I'm unplugging everything that gets 5 volts. Well, I want to see if the solenoid board is still putting out the 5 volts, or what the deal is, and I don't really want to. If I plug it in and this thing isn't doing 5, it's doing like 12, and it sends it to all the chips, it'll fry it. The guy's probably already plugged it in, if that is an issue, but I'm going to unplug all the displays and turn it on, just so we can measure that voltage to see if our 5 is all right, and if it is, I'll plug everything back in and we'll turn it on just to see what happens. Okay, folks, so we've got just a few of the general illumination lights still working. This side doesn't have them working. And then we do have 5 volts on our test point on the solenoid board, so that's good. One other voltage I'm going to check. I'm going to check the displays, if I can do that without getting electroshocked. I would like to see, I don't know why they hid those test points way up under that plastic piece. I mean, I know it's so you don't get shocked, but yeah, our displays voltage is missing, so we're not going to have displays. Okay, so I think what I'll do, I'll turn it off. I'm going to plug the other boards back in and just see if the MPU still boots or if it's just the displays or what the deal is. Okay, so our 5 volts was there, and I'm not confident that the display voltage is even working, but we'll turn it on. There is a LED over here, I think that one, that will flash quickly, and then 7 more flashes if that board is still booting. Unfortunately, those batteries on it look like they've started to leak, so we might have some problems there, but let's see what happens. It is locked on, so that basically means the board is not working. So we don't know about the displays. I don't think they've got their voltage either, though. A lot of times on these displays, you can look at them and there will be a little orange light if they have the high voltage, and I don't see it on any of them. So, all right, so we've got issues that we need to do on the power supply, which probably has something to do with the high voltage displays as well. And then we've got the MPU isn't working right, and looks like it's got some acidic damage, which is not acidic, alkalytic damage. Looks like maybe the alkalines leaked a little bit. It's no big deal, people. We'll figure it out. Why are you worried, people? Don't be worried. We're gonna figure it out. Don't worry about it. And we've got a bunch of light bulbs not working. We've got some flipper rubbers that need replaced. We've got a flipper bat that's cracked and looks like at one point may have been dragging the Playfield. So that's what I noticed so far. So it's just, they're always like this. They need a little work. They need to be gone through, and we need to touch a bunch of different stuff to get it kind of back where it's going to be reliable for the gentleman and his family, because apparently they're having all kinds of fun playing it whenever it works. So look at this mess. And the crazy thing is, those are replacements. That's not the original ones. They replaced them and then they did that. Look at that crap. And this fuse is obviously blown. Wow. Okay, so we're going to fix it though. You can buy a new one of these, but the customer, I think he would rather we just fix the old one and not buy a new one. That was the impression that we got from him, okay? So That's what we're going to do, and I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. It looks bad. It's not as bad as it looks, folks. It'll be okay. Don't worry. Stop worrying. We'll fix it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take these 3 screws off, which allows the rectifier board to come down, and then we can look at the back of it. So here's what the back looks like. The bottom connector is fine. This connector is fine, but this particular connector, they have a jumper on it. Let's see here. That's kind of suspect. That's it. Now, why is it like that? It's because they, on the back of the board, they're creating the trace that's burnt up on the front of the board. Okay. So what we need to do is remove. That one looks pretty good. I think we can get away with this one and this one. We're going to remove this one for sure, though, and put a new one on it, and I'll see what's going on with that trace. All right, so I'm going to desolder that and take it off and get a good look at it. Well, I'm taking these pins off one at a time, and then, I'm getting a little closer look at this bottom one, and I don't really like the looks of that. See how it's burnt too? I'm thinking that, I can't tell where the traces went, but I'm thinking that may be just the carbon did it. When something gets burnt like that, the actual burned part is conductive. So you can get in a situation where if you can't clean that completely up, and I don't think we can, if you can't clean that completely up, basically the power, like if there's a voltage here, it will conduct through the carbon down to here, right? And if this is not the same voltage, it doesn't like that. It go pow, and could start a fire. So you may have seen my video I did on the asteroids where the monitor we repaired, it had a big hole in it from something similar. It's a little bit different situation though. Your voltages are lower, and it's all like it's in the same area, and it's in a part of the monitor, so that if that starts screwing up, it'll blow a fuse, right? And then I checked it, and it wasn't shorted or conductive or anything like that. This is a little bit different situation because there's several different voltages. So your voltages are like there's a 12, a 5, a 6, and then right here and running through these, there is a 250 volts, something like that, for the displays. And there's a wire right there that comes from the transformer. That wire. And man, it's right on all of that damage and stuff. So I'm thinking this might not be a good idea to fix this. It's just too... I don't mind the pins being all screwed up. We can replace that and everything, but the board having all that carbon on it, you're just asking for trouble. So what am I going to do? Like I said, you can buy a new one, but I actually have several of these used, so I'll just gift the guy a new old rectifier board. I've never actually seen one this bad. So most of the used ones are just fine compared to this. This is pretty rough. Something shorted and caused a lot of freaking problems. So I've got a bunch of these. I'll bring one and we'll swap it in. Now the way you do that is you swap all the wires off of the transformer and just put them on your other one. So it won't be that big of a deal. So let me go get one of those and we'll see if we can clean that up. I hate to put... I don't mind fixing stuff that's screwed up. Like, and I'll fix burned up stuff and stuff like that. But this, on a pinball machine, whenever you've got so many voltages right on top of each other, I just don't think it's really on this particular board, I don't think it's a good idea. If it was just, this is all screwed up and it's just confined to one area and one little voltage, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But this is like, you're right on top of several different voltages. So let's play it safe. What do you think? Okay, so I looked in my part stash, and look at this baby I found. Now it looks bad, but it's because the connector needs replaced. So you can see how they always heat up, but this one just went nuts. Look at that. That might have to be my thumbnail. Look at that. Okay, so I'm going to slowly swap it over. So the way you got to do it is, I guess I'll change the connectors while I've got it off, but basically you have to attach all of the wires back. I think we're sitting a lot better with this one. Okay, so I'm going to start swapping it over. Out with the old. So whenever you put new pins on these, you have to be careful on this specific board because there are traces on both sides. So it's common to get it resoldered on the back, but it not be making contact with the trace on the front. So you have to make sure you get plenty of solder on it so that it flows through the via and gets a nice connection on the front too. So see how it gets this signal for the second pin on the front. So on the back, it also goes to, well, on the back it looks like it's doubled up, so I guess that's cool. But yeah, and see how this one is burnt away or lifted away or something. So we'll have to put a little jumper. They had one on there too. Okay, so I'm going to put new pins on it, and that should get it in a lot better shape. All right, check it out. So whenever you put these on, like I said, make sure you get plenty of solder on the back so that it flows through the vias, and then you need to check each pin to see if it's attached to the traces on the top that it's supposed to be attached to. Okay. Go heavy with it. And I put the little jumper there to fix the trace. I basically just used I had to remove some of the pins for the keys. So there is, on a lot of these, there will be a pin missing so that when you put the plug on, it fits right. And so you can't put it on backwards or whatever. So you have to remove that little pin, which makes a heck of a jumper if the trace is missing like that one. Okay, so we got that. I'm going to go ahead and start swapping it onto our setup here by just changing the wires one at a time. Off the old one, onto the new one. And then we'll check the bridge rectifiers, check the fuses, check the diodes, all that good jazz. And put her back in the machine. So here's his finished product. Missing the high voltage fuse because remember it was blown. But I know where there's a whole case of them. So we're going to pop this back in, and then we have to work on the connectors in the cabinet so that they make good connection. Make sure it's all rock steady. Okay, so you saw the hacked up mess earlier. So I'm going through, put a new plug on it. I'm going through and I'm taking each wire out with a screwdriver. Bend the little tab. Okay, and then I'm cutting the end off. Cut it close so you don't lose any of your wire, or much of your wire. Okay, and then I'm crimping new tabs on with my crimpers. Now, if you're wondering where do you get those, where would I find something like that? There's a website, GreatPlainsElectronics.com. Ed that runs that site, he basically collates. Is that the word, Joe? Is collate the word?
That's it.
What's wrong with this one, Joe?
It's broke.
Oh, he collates all the parts that you might need, like this, on a pinball machine. So go check that out. And if you're looking for the crimpers and stuff like that, we have those on our website. Go to lionsarcade.com, go to the parts page, and we got a bunch of the stuff that we use in our repairs on that page. Now, if you buy anything on there, a lot of those are links to Amazon. You see that guy upstairs over there, Joe?
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, I've never seen anybody up there before.
That's pretty wild.
I had to take a double check.
We're looking at the church across the street.
Sure
There's people upstairs. I didn't even know. Yeah, I've never seen him use that. Okay, anyway. So if you buy anything on there, it takes you to Amazon. If you buy anything on Amazon, even if it's not something we linked, like if you go on there and you buy yourself a Christmas tree, we're filming this around Christmas, you know. If you buy yourself a Christmas tree, it gives us 3% of whatever you buy. So we appreciate everybody doing that. So I'm going to keep replacing these. I checked the wiring diagram just to make sure these were still in the right order, because it looked like somebody was getting kind of fishy with some of the stuff. Like this crap here. You saw it earlier. You know, come on now. So I'm making sure we put them in the right spot, and then we'll be ready to test it out. Okay, folks, so the top two, the plastic was still fine. That one's a little brown, but it doesn't matter. But I replaced all the pins, put them back in, left all of the outputs disconnected, checked the voltages on the 5 test points, everything was cool. Plugged it all back in, and we are right where we were, where the board's not booting, but we do have high voltage now on our displays. See the little orange light? So the displays have high voltage. Now, not all of these do that. I don't see it on that one that looks bent, so we may end up with some issues with that one. But sometimes you have a display where you can't see it like that. It's not that simple. But I think his power supply is going to be nice and solid now. So I'm going to put all these screws back in it and put the guard back on it. And hopefully he won't have to worry about that for a long time. But I think we'll stop there for now. On the next video, we'll check out the solenoid board, make sure it's all cool, and then we'll see what we can do to get that MPU to start booting. So join us then. Make sure to leave your comments below. Give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. Hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't checked out my brother Donnie, go check that out. It's our other channel here on YouTube. If you like watching us work on these old pinball machines, you'd probably like watching us work on old buildings and cars and trucks and stuff like that. And leave your comments below. Let us know what you think so far. What do you think? Are we going to be able to fix that board with the alkaline damage? It's got a little bit. It's not booting. Something's going on. But we'll try that next time, and we'll see you then. Tell them what to do, Joe.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.